Could you please repeat it?
Vous avez dit au juge d'instruction.
You told the co-investigating judges, I would hope for the ECCC, the extraordinary chambers before which you were testifying today. I would hope for the ECCC to find justice for the country and for the Cambodian people. Can you please tell us what you mean by that statement?
Response. I was saying that I wanted the tribunal to find justice for Cambodian victims, the true justice. And I want that these things would never happen again in the future, and I would like Cambodia to be in peace and harmony.
Je vous remercie, monsieur.
Thank you very much, sir. All of the information that you've provided to us today are, in one way or another, is a way for us to find justice for the Cambodian people, and that is why in your answer it is important to be as precise as possible so that you can provide to us the most information as possible. My first question for you is as follows. You stated that you were recruited into the revolution when you were 16 years of age. That means that you were at an age when you were still a child. To your knowledge, were many children recruited and brought into the revolution?
Response. So far as I recollect, people in villages and districts were brought into the revolution. People, including the tribal people in Ratanakiri as well. In a nutshell, everyone all across the country was asked to join the revolution. However, it is about joining the revolution first or later, and I was the one who joined the revolution at an early age, and later on everyone else joined the revolution, regardless of their aging groups.
Merci.
Thank you. Regardless of the age of an individual, in your opinion, why were children in particular recruited?
Response. I don't know the reason behind this.
À quelle tâche était affectée?
What kind of tasks were children assigned?
Response. I did not notice any significant tasks being assigned to children. For example, in my case, I was tasked with delivering letters, growing vegetables. That's normal tasks.
Merci.
Thank you. At one point or another, were you a member of the Communist Party of Cambodia?
Response. I don't know about the member of the CPK, but I joined in the movement that was joined by other, and that's all I know.
Est-ce que vous étiez...
Were you married? Witness.
Response. I was not married back then.
Avant d'arriver à Phnom
Before arriving in Phnom Penh on April 17th, 1975, you served in the revolution for approximately 7 years. During those 7 years, did you notice any disappearances?
Response. No, I didn't.
Est-ce que des gens...
Were people sent to be re-educated during the period prior to 1975?
Response. I'd never seen people being sent.
Vous nous avez dit, monsieur, que vous aviez...
Mr. Witness, you told us that you spent 10 years with Khoi Kun and his wife. 10 years in total. You testified that he did not talk to you about his work. Did he talk to you about the revolution?
Response. Yes, he did. He used to talk about revolution. Revolution here refers to the struggle to liberate the country. And he talked about people all across Cambodia were expected to rise and struggle to liberate the country from the American imperialists.
Est-ce que...
Sometime before his arrest, did he talk to you about any of his concerns over his own fate or himself?
Response. I don't know.
Vous nous avez dit que quand il...
You told the court that when he was arrested, you were sent to deliver a good meal. Do you know why you were chosen to deliver this meal, as you had known him for a long time?
Response. Bang was the person who assigned me with this task.
Est-ce que Pang
Did Pang confer upon you an additional mission on top of bringing him that meal? Did he ask you to try and obtain any information or anything else?
Response. No, he didn't.
vous nous avez dit que
You testified and told the court that you were at Sheng Shemre up until the arrest of Mr. Koi Kun. Do you know who followed Koi Kun?
Response. I don't know.
est-ce que vous connaissez So Hong?
Do you know So Hong?
Response. Yes, I do. Mr. So Hong was a medic. He worked for Pol Pot. After the liberation of Phnom Penh, Mr. So Hong worked at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but I had no further contact with him anymore.
Est-ce que vous avez été
Were you yourself interrogated following the arrest of Mr. Koi Kun?
Response. No, I wasn't. Other people were removed from or were transferred from Trang Chamre to other locations unknown to me.
à propos de
With respect to Svei Meas, are you aware who decided to send people to Svei Meas?
Response. No, I'm not.
quand vous étiez à Svein,
When you were at Svei Meas with other people, had you heard that people were being sent from Svei Meas to S21?
Response. No, I hadn't.
est-ce que pendant que vous étiez à Svein,
And during the time that you were at Svei Meas, people were departing from Svei Meas and they were going elsewhere. Were you aware of this?
Response: No, I wasn't. I was there briefly before I was returned to Phnom Penh to know about this.
Ce matin, vous avez
This morning, the co-prosecutor read an excerpt from one of your interviews in which you identified Camille. Who is this person? Who is Camille?
Response: Kami was the head of the security force or security unit.
Quel était le nom de cette unité?
What was the name of that unit?
It was the Y10 unit.
Merci.
Thank you. Was that unit responsible for arresting people?
Response: No, I don't know, because I have never seen what the unit was doing.
Qui était le chef de...
Who was the chief? Or who was the superior to Camille?
Response: Kami received orders from Pang.
Et Pang?
And from whom did Pang receive his orders?
Response: In general, Pang received direct orders from Pol Pot.
Vous avez dit que
You stated that you were accused of being a traitor, and that you didn't understand why you were being accused as a traitor. Do you know who accused you of being a traitor?
Response: Normally, if a head of a unit was arrested, his subordinates would be implicated as the elements, bad elements that could have been affiliated with the work of his or her superior, and I was afraid because of that.
vous avez dit
At the beginning of May, you said that Angkar had arrested Koi Kun, who was your superior. You were saying today that subordinates were very often, as a general rule, arrested as well. You were saying that there's a link between the arrest of Koi Kun and the fact that you yourself were named as a traitor. Is this what you are saying?
Response. It is just my surmise and concern. My concern was that I would be accused of being a traitor, and I was intimidated by the arrest of my superior. I noted that people in the unit kept disappearing, and I started to be very afraid.
However, if Angkor decided that Mr. Khoi Kun would be arrested, who would decide that Khoi Kun's subordinates should also disappear?
Response. I don't know. That's all I understand.
Monsieur, dans votre travail,
Sir, from 1968 to 1979, during the revolution, did you obey orders given by your hierarchical superiors?
Response. In general, a person had to be appointed or assigned to perform any particular task, not necessarily me myself, and if the task was assigned, the person who was assigned with the task had to obey it.
et s'il n'obéissait pas,
And if one did not obey the orders, what would happen?
Response. The President interrupts. The question is more hypothetical, so the witness is instructed not to respond to it.
សាក់សីមិនឆ្លើយតបនឹងសំណួរមិនមែនទេសំណួរឧបមាវិធីអង្គហេតុនេះមិនមាន
This fact does not happen, says the President, and that the Council is instructed not to refer to any hypothetical fact to put question to the witness.
Monsieur,
When one did not obey orders, did you notice anything happen? Did you witness or hear about anything that would happen as a consequence of a person not obeying orders?
Respond. Normally, during the daytime, people would be assigned to work as usual, And in the evenings, we would be invited to attend the criticism sessions so that we could be criticized to correct our mistakes or to correct what we hadn't done properly during the daytime so that we could do better the next day.
Bearing in mind your experience in the revolution, witness, did you have any opportunity or any leeway to say no to actually performing a task?
Yes, there were some. For example, if they sent a messenger and that messenger found that it was too difficult to send the message alone, then we may say no to that order.
And the orders that went directly to you, were you allowed to refuse?
As I said earlier, where I found that it was impossible to accomplish the task alone, I would refuse it.
Thank you. One last question. On the 2nd of May, you told us that Khoi Kun had been arrested by Ankar. And then the co-prosecutor asked you what was Ankar, and you said it was the leadership. Then the co-prosecutor said, who were the leaders, and you said it was Pol Pot, Nuon Chea, Ieng Sary and Kyo Sampong and Son Sen. Khoi Kun was arrested by Ankar. What about Pong? Pong, who was in charge of Office K1 and K3 and in charge of 870. Who arrested Pong?
That I don't know. I did not know who arrested him, but I merely knew that he had disappeared.
Who were Pong's superiors?
Pong received instruction directly from Pol Pot. All tasks undertaken by Pong was ordered by Pol Pot.
Thank you, witness. I have no further questions.
Excusez-moi, je vous...
Excuse me in case I wasn't heard. Thank you very much, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay. The President, the national lead co-lawyer for the civil parties, you may proceed. The national lead co-lawyer for the civil parties, you may proceed. Counsel Pech Ong, Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, members of the public in the gallery. I am the national lead co-lawyers for the civil parties. I have some questions to put to the witness for the remainder of the time allotted to the civil party lawyers. I would like to start my question with the time when you were in Ratanakiri. When you were working as a messenger in Ratanakiri, did you know who was in charge of the sector in Ratanakiri province? Response. At that time, I did not know. I did not know the secretary of the sector or the district. Question. At that time, you were a messenger in Andomia district. Did you work as a messenger for this district, or you worked as a messenger for other leaders outside of Andomia district? At that time, I was a messenger attached to Andong Mies district. Question. Did you receive any training or attend any meeting as a messenger attached to Andong Mies district? Response. There was no specific training or so, but there were some reminders that as the messengers we had to deliver the message, but there was no actually systematic training also. Question. Did you ever receive any instruction also that if you ever tampered with the letter or message, then you would risk being arrested also?
No.
At that time, they advised us to be vigilant. If anything happened, for example, a letter was lost, then what would happen to me as the messenger, I did not know. They did not actually tell me specifically. Question. Did you ever receive any instruction or training on the party's policy? No, I did not. Question. I would like to move on to the next phase when you were working as a messenger in Kampong Thom. Apart from your role as the messenger, did you observe the overall treatment of people in Kampong Thom, the place where you were working? No, I did not see any irregular treatment. Did you hear the word evacuation in the area where you lived, namely in Sandan and Santuk districts? No, I never heard or saw the evacuation, because when I arrived there, people had already stayed there. Question. Before April 1975, did you stay with Koi Thun from late 1974 to early 1975? Yes, I stayed with him. Question. Did you happen to know that Koi Thun had traveled to attend meetings? Response. I do not understand your question. Question. Did you know that Koi Thun had attended meetings with anyone before the attack on Phnom Penh in April 1975? Generally, Koi Thun received instruction from Pol Pot. Question. You said that Koi Thun received instruction from Pol Pot. How did you know that Koi Thun received instruction from Pol Pot? The reason why I said Koi Thun received instruction from Pol Pot, because before wherever he went, he would go and see Pol Pot first. Question. Did you see his meeting with Pol Pot by your own eyes, or did you accompany Koi Thun to see Pol Pot? Yes, I did see the meet. Question. When was it? Response. It was in Chamka-Lư district. Question. Where was the meeting on the attack of Phnom Penh held? Response. I cannot recall the exact location, but it was somewhere in Chamka-Lư district. Question. Did Koi Thun ever meet Pol Pot in any other venues before the attack on Phnom Penh? That I do not know. Thank you. I move on to the next question. Did you know when Koi Thun first came to Phnom Penh? Response. Koi Thun came to Phnom Penh on the Liberation Day. That was on the 17th of April 1975, sometime in the afternoon, late afternoon, around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Question. Did you come along with Koi Thun then, or you came on the other day after Koi Thun arrived in Phnom Penh? Response. Koi Thun came to Phnom Penh earlier and I followed. I left Ot Dong at around 4:30 in the afternoon. Question. You said Dam Nak Smach. Was it the location where Pol Pot based his forces, or it was a different place? Well, that was the base of Division 304, led by Koi Thun himself. Question. When you were traveling to Phnom Penh, did you come alone or in group? And what was the general condition or situation when you were traveling into Phnom Penh? I left the base to Phnom Penh and I was riding on a motorcycle alone. No, but actually somebody took me on a motorcycle. Question. Did you see people marching or walking along the street? Along the street, I saw people walking and traveling by trucks. Question. What was the condition of the people walking along the street or traveling along the street? Were they soldiers or civilians? Well, they were not soldiers. They were Phnom Penh dwellers who left the city. Question. Did they march or walked out of the city by themselves, or they were being escorted by others? I did not see any people escort them. They simply walk along the streets. Question. Did you happen to see soldiers walking or loitering in the city? Response. No, I didn't. Question. Did you see the elderly, young people, or monks walk among other peoples on the street?
No.
Immediately after Phnom Penh was liberated, the city was not busy, but after that, there were people evacuated from the city. Question. For a clarification, when you travel your way to Phnom Penh, what was the route of your travel? I left Odong, and then I traveled all the way to Kampong Speu. Then I came to Phnom Penh. Question. Can you clarify whether or not the route you took was the national route or it was the secondary road leading to Phnom Penh? From Odong to Kampong Speu, we took the secondary road, but from Kampong Speu to Phnom Penh, we took the national road. Question. When you first got to Phnom Penh, you said you stayed somewhere near Wat Phnom. What was the specific location where you stayed? I did not know the exact location, somewhere near Wat Phnom, but people generally call it the French house. Questions. How far was it from Wat Phnom? Response. It was about half a kilometer. Question. Which direction was it if we compare with the Wat Phnom landmark? I cannot recall, but back then I did not even know Wat Phnom. I first arrived in Phnom Penh, and I stayed there for a short period of time. Question. When you got there, did you meet Koi Thun immediately? Yes, when I got there, I met Koi Kun over there. Question. Did you have the freedom to walk around from the place where you stayed at that time? Response: I do not understand your question. Question: when you first got to the so-called French house, you stayed in the house, or you traveled to other places surrounding the compound where you resided? No, I did not go anywhere. When I first arrived, I stayed in that location. But 2 or 3 days after that, I was transferred to Trang Chamre. Question: when you were staying in that location, what was the general living condition of the people surrounding that area? What was the general situation of people over there? When I arrived in that location, I did not see the people, the population. People had already been evacuated. Question: let me clarify the points here. You said when you were traveling into Phnom Penh, you did not see many people walking out of the city, but you said after you arrived in Phnom Penh, several days later, then you saw people marching out of the city. But now you are saying that you did not see the people in the location where you resided. How did you know that there were people leaving the city within the period of 3 days after Phnom Penh was liberated? A response. The reason why I said I did not see people, because when I arrived in Phnom Penh from Adong, I did not see people in my location. Then 3 days later, I was transferred to Trang Chumre. It was along the national road, and there I saw people marching out of the city. Question: when you were staying in Phnom Penh before you were transferred to Trang Chamre, did you travel to other places inside the city? No, I didn't. Question: when you were traveling to Trang Chamre, did you observe the general conditions of people along the way? I observed that some people left the city on trucks, on cars or motorcycles, and some of them pulled their carts along with them. Question: what was their general facial expression? Were they happy to leave the city? Through my observation, they were not happy.
តើពេលនោះមានតាហ៊ាន
Question. Were there soldiers escorting people walking out of the city?
Response. I didn't see them.
នៅភ្នំពេញ
Question. When you were in Phnom Penh during the few days, did you ever hear any gunshots? Response. No, I didn't. The city was very quiet. Question. Did you ever hear any screaming or people talking out loud on the roads? Response. No, I didn't. Question. The place where you stayed, was it far from the roads? Response. I lived next to the road to Wat Phnom. Question. When people were being evacuated from Phnom Penh, did you know why they were being evacuated? Response. I don't know. Question. I would like to ask you the final question. Before my colleague, indeed, you said Koi Kun was arrested, and that people in the unit started to be afraid. Apart from the disappearing of people in your unit, did you hear or note any other disappearance of people elsewhere? Response. As indicated, I remembered only the cases of Koi Kun and Pong. With regard to my concern, it was normal. It's more like a mother and her daughter or children. It's like a father and his son. So when our superior were arrested, then we subordinates had reason to be afraid. Question. Could you describe your worries? Were you afraid because you were saddened or because you were intimidated? The President, Counsel, you may now proceed.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors, and good morning to everyone in and around the courtroom We've heard the answers to these questions already. They're repetitious. It's past 12 o'clock. If the gentleman wishes to ask any questions which have not been answered, that's fine, but these questions have been asked and answered, and it's a waste of time.
The President thank you, Council, for your observation. Council for the Civil Party is now instructed to put questions that are allowed by the law and try to avoid putting questions that are repetitive, and since we're running out of time, Council should be advised to put more concrete questions. Could you advise the Chamber how many more questions do you have to put to the witness? It is now 12:05. Council for the Civil Party. Thank you, Mr. President. I have no further questions to put to the witness. The President. Thank you, Council, and thank you, witness. Since it is now time for the lunch adjournment, the Chamber will adjourn. The next session will be resumed by 1:30. We thank you very much indeed to the witness for your time. And court officer is now instructed to assist the witness during lunch break and also assist his duty counsel and ensure that the witness is returned to the courtroom by 1:30. Counsel for Nuon Chea, you may now proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, everyone. I'm on my feet only to make our habitual request that Nuon Chea be permitted to retire to the holding cell for the afternoon session. We've prepared the necessary paperwork. Thank you.
The President, the Chamber notes the request by Nuon Chea through his counsel. He asked that he be excused from this courtroom and that he be permitted to observe the proceedings from his holding cell due to his tiredness. The Chamber therefore grants such request. Mr. Nuon Chea is now permitted to observe the proceedings from his holding cell from now until the remainder of the day. And Nuon Chea has indicated very clearly that he has waived his right to directly participate in this courtroom. The counsels are advised to produce or to present the waiver signed or given thumbprint by Mr. Nuon Chea to the bench. AV officers are now instructed to ensure that the video link is connected to the holding cell so that Mr. Nuon Chea can observe the proceedings from there. Security personnel are now instructed to bring Mr. Nuon Chea and Khieu Samphan to the holding cells and return Mr. Khieu Samphan alone to the courtroom, while Mr. Nuon Chea can remain in the holding cell. Please have Mr. Khieu Samphan return to the courtroom by 1:30. The court is adjourned.